Compass of the heart. Idris lived in a world of constant noise. From the neon lights of the city to the endless notifications on his phone, everything was loud, yet he felt a strange, hollow silence inside. He had a good job and many friends, but every night he looked at the stars and wondered, is this all there is? Is there a design to this chaos, or are we just drifting? He began his search in the dusty corners of the old town library. There, he met Mr. Finch, a man who had spent 70 years reading the wisdom of the world. Idris asked him where the truth was hidden. Mr. Finch leaned over his mahogany desk and whispered, "The truth isn't hidden, Idris. It is simply waiting for a heart quiet enough to hear it. Start by seeking the source." Idris took a sabbatical and traveled. He stood before great cathedrals and ancient ruins, searching for a spark. He wrote down his questions in a leather-bound journal. Why are we here? What happens when the light goes out? But the monuments remained silent, and his heart remained heavy with the weight of the unknown. One afternoon, while sitting in a quiet city park back home, Idris noticed a young man named Zaid. Zaid was sitting under a willow tree, reading a small book. There was a stillness about him, a sense of peace that Idris had been chasing across continents. When Zaid looked up and smiled, Idris felt compelled to speak. "You look like a man who has found what he was looking for," Idris said. Zaid invited Idris to sit. They talked for hours about purpose, creation, and the soul. Zaid didn't use complicated philosophy. He spoke of a creator who was closer than one's own jugular vein. He opened his book, the Quran, and pointed to a verse. "Indeed, with hardship there is ease," Zaid read. Idris felt a sudden shiver, as if a key had finally turned in a long locked door. Idris spent the following weeks in solitude. He traded his travel guides for translations of the Quran and books on the life of the Prophet. He discovered a faith that balanced logic with spirit and justice with mercy. One night, as rain tapped against his window, he read about the oneness of God. For the first time, the hollow silence in his chest began to fill with warmth. Curious but nervous, Idris decided to visit the local mosque. He stood at the entrance, unsure if he belonged. He took off his shoes and stepped onto the soft, patterned carpet. The air smelled of sandalwood and old pages. He watched men standing in silent rows, bowing and prostrating in a rhythm that looked like the heartbeat of the earth itself. An elderly man with a kind face, the imam, noticed Idris standing at the back. He walked over and sat beside him on the floor. Idris shared his journey, the travels, the books, and the lingering fear of making the wrong choice. The imam listened and said, "Faith is not a destination you reach. It is a path you choose to walk. If you take one step toward the Creator, He takes 10 steps toward you." That evening, Idris climbed to the rooftop of his apartment building. The city was still loud, but the noise no longer bothered him. He looked at the horizon where the sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of violet and gold. He realized that the truth wasn't a mystery to be solved, but a reality to be accepted. He felt a profound sense of clarity. The next day, Idris met Zaid at the mosque. With a clear voice and a steady heart, Idris stood before the community. He raised his hand and recited the Shahada, "There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger." Zaid placed a hand on his shoulder, welcoming his brother home. Idris realized his search hadn't ended. His true journey had finally begun.